we'll hit the record button, or I guess Nate already hit the record button. Thanks, Nate. So Doug, if you want to start the meeting.
Yes, this will call to order today's meeting on November 18th, 2021 of the Ohio City Design Review Committee. Present we have myself, Doug Wall, Margaret Land, Alex Frondorf, and where did
I think Nia just joined too.
Antonia Marinucci and Margaret Land. Very good. All right, Donna or Nate, would you like to call our first item?
Yeah, the first item on the agenda is 5100 Lorain storefront renovation program. If you could unmute.
Okay.
Is anybody here for 5100 Lorain? I don't see them on the call.
Well, then let's move to the next item. We can come back if someone shows up.
Okay, so the next item is 4702 Clinton.
Hello. What do I, oh, there you go.
Nate will put up the files that you sent, and so you can just go through your little presentation for us.
Sure. Basically, I am in the process of remodeling the upstairs of my home, and I need to replace the front top 3 windows, which I've agreed to do in the required wood frame. And we'll do the top, basically just following the rules and doing what I'm asked as far as what's required. So they're wood frame windows from Home Depot. They meet all the requirements and they meet mine as well, except for the cost. However, that's okay.
So they're wood frame windows that are going to be painted on the outside. Is that
They're going to
it,
be,
Alex?
they're being replaced from the inside.
No, I mean paint. They are wood windows now.
Oh, yeah. They are wood windows.
So they're going to be painted to match the first floor windows. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of strange because I've got molding out in front of my windows. So the color of the windows doesn't necessarily change what's happening on the outside of my house. Does that make sense?
No, it looks, what you're trying to say is it looks like you have aluminum triple track storm window frames in front of the windows. Okay,
Yes.
And those are all going to remain. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. I think there'll be screens that come with the windows going in, but honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not doing I just picked out the window frames, and I know that they're screened and they're double hung.
But we don't. It looks like they're currently those aluminum triple track frames are on the second floor and the first floor windows. Is that right?
Correct. And if those need to stay, those can stay.
And the first floor windows, did you replace those, or are those still like original, or?
Those are still original.
Okay, and so the wood of the new windows, you're going to paint to match the existing first floor windows.
Absolutely, right? Yes, yeah. And we're also going to change the color of the house. We wanted to do it this year, but it just didn't work out. So the color of the house is going to change next year. There's also, just to be clear, there's a fourth window that you can't see that we weren't going to replace, but we do have to replace. It faces the front, and it would be replaced with the exact same windows. You can't see it from this picture.
Oh, it's around the right side?
Correct. Yeah, there's a little jettison. And
I see. Yeah, you've got a little bay.
Yeah. And it's the exact same window. We're going to put the exact same window in there. We just hadn't, at the time of this presentation, we thought we were only doing 3.
Okay. Well, I would suggest if they are not, I mean, they're insulated double pane glass, correct? The windows you're gonna put in up there?
Correct.
And, so you probably won't need this, and they come with their own storm or screen, so you won't need to have those aluminum triple track.
No, yeah,
Frame.
those can come out, or, you know, whatever.
I think we suggest removing those. I mean, since the
Okay.
first floor windows, are still the original, they're probably not even double pane glass, are they?
No,
So
it
you
has
probably
the,
still need the aluminum storms and screens down below,
oh, absolutely, yes.
so it would be more historically authentic to get rid of them. If you're not doing anything to the first floor, then you don't need to make them match, but I think the aluminum storm tracks should go. since they're
Yeah,
not needed.
they're not needed. And it's the same pane, there's none of the, I forget what those are called, but, you know.
Muffins,
Yes,
dividers.
thank you. We talked, yeah, thanks.
And looking at the specs on these, it indicates that the exterior is going to come pre-primed. So you'll just need to pick your top coat color. But since those will be open, you know, since the exterior of the window will be open to the elements, you won't have that triple track there. You'll just want to make sure that you keep the maintenance of the paint on the new windows on the outside. Like make sure you know, keep it well painted, because that'll protect the wood underneath.
Oh, absolutely, yes. That's all I have to offer. I'm not sure what else you might need.
Right, so none of it's just the three windows on the front, not the sides. Or the back.
No, not at this point. There's one window in the back that we're considering replacing, but it can't be seen from the street. It's a bathroom window.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments from committee members?
Just a suggestion that when you are ready to paint the house, you can start with the Sherwin-Williams palette for historic preservation, and typically the sash of the window is the darkest color on the house. That's not a requirement, just a suggestion when you guys get to that point, since you are doing unfinished wood and we'll be able to paint it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, great.
Yeah, I have Jim Cahill is going to do the painting on the house, so he's pretty experienced down here. So yeah, we realize that this is not a traditional Ohio City paint job.
That's fine. Otherwise, I guess motion to approve as presented.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Nate,
Okay.
please call the roll.
I'll call the roll. Doug Wall,
Yes. Aye.
Margaret Land,
Yes.
Antonia Marinucci.
Yes.
The motion is approved as presented.
Don't forget about Alex.
Oh, Alex is,
I was
sorry,
gonna say
Alex Fronda. All right.
All right, it is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. And just one question though, before we go. On my side windows, which some will start to be replaced, is it the same requirement, or can I, save a little money? I mean, I'm not going to do anything that's cheap looking or inexpensive or vinyl. Just the 100% wood windows, pretty expensive.
Sure. Well, you could also use an aluminum clad window. We approve those also, so it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Yeah, I wanted the wood for the front just because it just looks so much better. But on the sides, the aluminum clad with the wood is probably more in keeping of what I want to do.
Yeah, so that would
Do
be
you
fine, except keep in mind, the color options in the cladding are usually less than paint. So it would be, a good idea unless there's a good reason otherwise to continue the same colors.
Oh, absolutely. And I have good people to consult with now, so.
Okay.
And Alice,
Yes.
Alice, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Nate or I at Ohio City Incorporated. and we could share a lot of the information with you as well.
Wonderful. I will do that because I do have some more questions, but I won't take up time at this meeting.
No, it's great. You can call me on my cell too. I'll share it with you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all. And I'm
Thanks,
signing off.
Alice.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alice.
All right, so the next case on our agenda is 3814 Whitman Avenue, proposal for siding. Is there anybody here for this case?
Yeah, the homeowners are here.
Great, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Good morning. We are proposing new siding on all 4 sides of our house. We are proposing a non-vinyl composite product that is similar to hardy board, but has more waterproofing capabilities and long-term ease of maintenance. And Brandon is here from Ascend to also speak to the material.
You're not speaking. Can you please mute your phone?
So as you can see in these pictures, our current material of our house is wood, some vertical, some horizontal. There's been some significant breakdown of it as of recently. And we also recently built a carriage house in our back and put all new siding on. It looks very beautiful back there. The front of our house is looking not as great. And so we want to put up a new product to kind of bring up the quality of our front house to what we have in the back. So
You're
this is,
proposing-
so
Go
this
ahead.
is Ascend composite cladding that we're suggesting, and this is the color. It's a Riviera dusk. Our carriage house is a dark gray, so we're going to kind of not match, but do a color that goes with it. And then we have red around our current trim of our windows. There's red lighting on the back, so we're going to keep pulling in these red accents. And then we have white gutters and white trim around the house. So this composite cladding that we're suggesting is a glass reinforced polymer. It has many, actually all of the qualities of a hardy board, but long term it's non-moisture absorbing and it prevents rotting and warping. I'm concerned about water and snow long term. So I wanted a product that I could trust would not start to absorb water in the next 5 to 10 years.
You're proposing removing the wood on the front of the house and the sides and replacing it with this composite material.
That's correct.
Is-
If I'm working with our company, it became, I have friends who have done more of like a Tyvek over the existing material and then put up hardy board on top of that. If that's the route we're going to go, but I'm assuming we're just going to have to tear off and start new just because of the quality or the condition of the materials that are currently on the house.
I think before we would approve this, we would want to know more about that condition. It seems unlikely that the wood, unless you tell me otherwise or present a report otherwise, that the wood is so deteriorated that it can't be replaced, repaired.
Yeah, that's not what we want to do. We do not want to repair the wood that's there.
What is your reasoning for that?
We have pictures. I'm not in control of the, we can scroll back up to where we have the pictures of the current state of the house. If you can see in these pictures how it is rotting down. I just don't want to be fighting a battle every 2 years of replacing pieces of this. This is not at all high quality wood. The cost of replacing this across my house is going to be significant. And I also am not the type of person that's going to do vinyl on 2 sides. The one side of our house is too much street facing, so it'll have to be consistent with the front. I'm not going to do one product on the sides and one product on the front and the other side. So it is our opinion that as homeowners that the best move forward is to do something consistent that long term will give us the quality that we're looking for.
there any way we can zoom in on that picture of the front of the house existing?
Is the deterioration of the wood all on the board and batten siding, or
both
is it
board and batten. So
also?
The front of the house is inconsistent. So the bottom half of the front of the house, the wood was replaced when this house was flipped about 5 years ago.
Oh, so there's already replacement siding on the front
On the
facade.
bottom of the front. So the front looks inconsistent. So you can, the top half is, you can see is chipping, not obviously on this picture, but if you're standing in front of my home, the top is chipping more and looks weathered. And then the bottom, kind of starting at those lower windows down, has new wood. And we
Okay.
replace everything. Just we have some board and batten, we have some horizontal plank, and we just want all new horizontal high quality product around the house.
Did you use this proposed ascend material on your new garage?
We did not. The garage is vinyl. We were not aware of this product when we did our garage. This is something that we've discovered once we realized that we really had no intentions of doing anything to the front of our house in this timeline. But in the last 2 years since we proposed the garage project, our house has started to deteriorate more rapidly. And so we've moved up the timeline. We got in touch with Ascend. We've talked at length about the products that are non-vinyl that are available to us. And that was when we learned of this product.
I think I need more information on, some detailed pictures to establish the condition of the siding. I see peeling paint, but I can't get enough detailed appearance of this because it's usually against our guidelines to just replace material that doesn't need to be replaced because of its physical deterioration.
I was thinking and painting should.
I'm sorry, you're saying that physical deterioration is not a qualification to replace materials?
Yes. If it's not maintainable anymore, then that would be a cause to replace it. But peeling paint is not.
This is not, Doug. I'm sorry. With all due respect, this is not peeling paint. You can see where this wood is rotting away.
But
Yeah, we've had a company come out and inspect it, and there is significant rot, guys, that has to be addressed.
right, but normally the right way to address that is to replace it with wood, with light product.
We own this home and we don't want to replace it with wood. We want to replace it with a higher quality product that is going to protect our home from wood, from rot, and from mildew, and all of those things long term. We're not looking to be dealing with wood rot 5-10 years from now. We want to do something that's better than wood.
I understand that, but our charge is to follow the Secretary of Interior's, guidelines for historic restoration. And one of the main premises there is to maintain existing original materials wherever possible. So that's why before we just say, oh yeah, let's put a nicer, more maintenance-free product on there, we kind of need to agree that yes, there is enough material on here that it's not salvageable. That because oftentimes we'll see that just a few boards of siding need to be replaced and then repainted.
Yeah, and often you can find wood, cedar comes to mind, or whatever that's painted that will last a very long time. There are homes in the neighborhood with cedar siding that have been there for 140 years.
Yes, and if you get close to them, they look atrocious because the attempts to take the paint off and then repaint over them look, completely.
Well, it's never going to look like new. I mean, if that's what you're trying to achieve, and that's not what the standards of historic restoration are about. If it was just about making a convenience choice for maintenance purposes down the road, then nothing would be maintained. Say, oh, let's just tear the old down and put up something new that looks like it. That's not really what historic restoration is about. So We're not trying to be,
And
difficult or
about my
uncompromising.
convenience. This is about the investment of my home that my family lives in, that I am trying to keep in high quality.
I think
So I don't feel like at this point that you're having a conversation with me that gives any consideration to my opinion in that fact.
No, we do. We hear you. We understand the considerations. We are sympathetic. We are empathetic. But as Doug mentioned, our job is to apply and enforce the Secretary of Interior standards. And so when applying those standards to this situation, what Doug is saying is that we don't think the case is warranted for removing the wood from the home and replacing it with this composite material at this time.
Okay, well, once my house rots more, we'll touch base then.
Well, I think,
It's a very unfortunate.
maybe we would support this move if we had better information about it than, this one picture that shows, I don't know, down by a porch scoop or something, some very deteriorated wood. So if you could come back to us with more detailed photographs of the damage and where it is, then we might agree with it.
Where these areas are, how many pictures would you like to have, just so I know? Because this bottom right picture is in the back of my house by the back door. This other picture, we can see the rotting all along the side. That's the side of my house that's facing the street.
And it's not uncommon to have houses of this age to have boards that need to be replaced from time to time. That's just the nature of a home of that age. And that's what it means to have a historic district, is that we have to protect these historic structures.
Definitely. And so I guess my question to you is, what percentage of these boards need to be replaced before you will allow me to replace it with a different product?
Well, I would say like 30 to 50%, if that would be, to me, a really significant amount of replacement versus working with the existing. So,
well, we'll get a contractor out and we will find out how many boards need to be replaced, and we'll touch back.
Can I ask a few questions about, like, assuming that there, is this amount of rot and that this is going to move forward with a full replacement? One, what was the plan for the trim? Like, would you remove the original wood trim, save it, and then reapply it? Or is this product able to be cut and used as trim, like around the windows and around the?
We're definitely planning on maintaining the look of all of the trim around the windows.
No, but
I'm
again,
asking
what
because some of these
is actual original material versus
no.
The
trim around the windows none of it is new, or sorry, none of it is old. This is all brand new in the last 5 years.
Okay, so the windows
those were put in when this house was renovated and flipped. So the windows in the front were actually very small previously, and they put in it's not even wood, it's a different material. It's like it's not plastic, but it's some kind of steel or something. But we would maintain the looks around the windows.
Because we would want to see, like a plan for if it's this, what the material is, whether it's wood or if this material can be cut to be trim. We'd want to know that. And then generally when we do approve siding replacement in a non-wood material, which to my knowledge, we've approved hardy, we ask for the smooth plank rather than the faux wood grain. And I noticed that this material has that faux wood grain. So I'm wondering if there's options in the smooth. Those would be, further questions that we would need answered.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes, and you mentioned initially in your presentation the choice of removing the existing and then putting the new siding back, because that relates to the trim. If you were trying to go over the existing siding, then the siding would be out in front of the trim material, and we don't want that. So So if you're going to replace this, then removing the existing siding is the way to go because, well, if you maintain the trim or replace it, the trim is usually 5/4 thick and the siding is 3/4 thick, so that the siding will butt into the trim. It's thicker
That makes
material.
sense. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And this is why I am not the one installing anything. That's why I hire people to do it, because I don't know anything about actually installing siding.
So yes, we need to know a little more information about what the trim material is proposed to be.
Well, first we need to know if you're gonna allow me to replace it. So, well, that's a little bit farther down the line.
Yes, and so this is not necessarily, in case you didn't understand, we're not talking about the entire house necessarily, but the front is clearly the most important elevation.
Yeah, I am not going to do anything inconsistent. The entire house will be the same. I don't like the idea of hodgepodging my house. So whatever I end up doing, it will be the complete house.
Okay. So you have to, if we're going to table this, as opposed to holding a vote, we have to have your consent. So if you are okay with us tabling it, then we will move to table it.
Yeah,
for a later date. Okay, then I will move to table.
I'll second.
Okay. Nate, please call the roll.
Doug Wall,
Aye, yes.
Margaret Land,
Yes.
Antonia Marinucci,
I have to abstain because these are past clients of mine, although I
Okay.
don't know if that matters for a table.
and Alex Frondorf.
Aye.
Okay, the item is tabled for now.
Great, thank you.
And I saw our first applicant is now on the line, so we will move back to that.
Okay.
5100 Lorain, can you please unmute and share your presentation with us?
Hey all, well, I'd say good morning. I'm a minute before afternoon, so my apologies for a little bit tardiness. Technical difficulties getting on this morning. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Good. So we've got the 5100 Lorain. We acquired the property here a couple of years ago. We're proposing to remove and replace, reconstruct the storefront facade of the property. We have got the demo phase and obviously the window install and finish work, and we're going to add an awning. Been working with the city. They gave us some options that they'd like to see. So if we can keep scrolling down, we'll get to the pictures there, and I can kind of just give you a visual. So that's the proposed completed product. We're also going to work on the restoration of that sign as well. So working with Tim over at City of Cleveland storefront program on that as well. And it's basically that whole mains from where the white panels are below and above, along with the entire storefront facade, including the painting of the entire building, excluding the piece that's not painted. So there's going to be some brick and mortar repair and some cleanup on that upper piece that is still maintained. Our hope is to kind of maintain the facade and kind of contribute back to the historical look of Lorain Avenue for the city of Cleveland.
You have a picture of a photograph of the existing condition?
I believe it was I had sent an updated proposal. I don't know if you slide down a little bit more. Let's see. Should
It's in
be
the back.
I think it's further down. Keep coming, keep coming. There we go.
Okay.
And there's a couple more pictures if you want to slide down a little bit from different angles, interior. So you can go back to the top. Yeah, they keep coming. If you keep coming down, it'll give you some of the angles there as well.
Yeah.
There we go. Give you a better set. So the three sides have already been painted. There's probably better than, I don't know, from what I can see, 7, 8, 9, 10 layers of paint on it. We did do a small test to see if it made sense to attempt to sandblast, and we tried 3 different products to return it back to brick, but I don't think it'll be cost effective to try to get any of that off.
I think you could also weaken the brick if you're taking that sandblasting approach. So
Right,
in this
we
case,
tried
it's
some
probably
stuff,
better
but you're right. Yeah, we tried some different type of nutshells to try to not degrade the brick below. But so we spoke with Tim, and he said, you know, if you kind of get a color to match the brick as close as possible, you still give it that kind of architectural or that textured feel of brick. So that's what we're gonna attempt to do here when we get around to the paint piece of it.
So you're not proposing to paint the upper part of the front that hasn't been painted, you're gonna leave that?
No, not at all. Our hope would have been to kind of restore the entire building to brick, but some of the numbers that we got were way beyond. It didn't make sense. It wasn't cost prohibitive.
Sure, so but since you're painting the other three sides, you were figuring you'll paint the upper part of the front too?
No. We're going to keep that, and we're going to attempt to work and get a match that's close to the front.
I see. Okay, so you're not painting.
I think, no, we're not. I think if anything, there have been some recommendations for some sealers to kind of like further maintain, but they would all be transparent. So, you know, we're not looking to take away the brick. We feel actually it adds more value to the property, the brick facade that's there, that's original to it. So our hope is to try to get the rest of the building as close to possible and just kind of further maintain what's up front and do a little bit more maintenance on the front side and keep that original look.
Okay.
I definitely appreciate your proposal here. It's definitely going to be an improvement to that storefront. I did have a question. What is the treatment? It's just hard for me to tell with the Tim's rendering because it has the awning. What's the treatment for the doors? And it looks like maybe there used to be lights above the door, and in the rendering, the awning kind of blocks that view.
The awning was a proposal.
So
from
behind
Tim.
the awning's fine, but behind the awning
right
what I can't see,
Correct.
you know, what's going to happen up there.
Correct.
If
So
you,
go ahead.
I was gonna say to Nate, if you scroll, sorry, I know you're going up and down a lot. If you scroll back down to the existing, the doors, and then it looks like maybe there were lights above the door that are filled in right now.
Yes, big transom. There are pretty large transom windows there.
Go ahead to the interior pictures. It'll give you a better sense for what the interior. There you go. So this has already, you know, been kind of taken out. Our plan is to have glass go to the top of that lintel above that smaller window opening from the interior. So they'd be full windows. And if you look at the left image there on the left where we kind of pulled some of the drywall away or paneling that was there, Tim and I looked, we're going to actually try to keep and maintain that height level and just come back and just kind of restore the keystones on the front of the building, and then you can see some of the work. So even on the interior, our plan is to kind of restore a lot of that kind of like 12 by 12 box trimming that's above
Panel trimming. That's
yeah,
nice. Yeah.
But can you go back up one picture to the outside photograph? See, I think what's going on, there's a couple of things going on here. If you look at those entry doors, I think they've been shortened. Those look like they're 6'8" doors, and the doors ought to be 7 feet.
Are you talking about the transom above the doors?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so that's your question is there going to be glass there again? I don't think that there was glass. I think on the inside, from what I can see, we pulled off that left. So if I'm looking at it in the exterior, it's the right, but it'd be the left side and the interior. And it looks like it's been blocked for some time. We're not opposed.
May have been, but I think it's highly likely that those were glass transoms. And
we don't have any opposition to that. You know, I'm trying to remember in the glass plan if those were going to be glass returned or what they were going to be. But you know, if glass needs to be put there, then we're happy to put glass. You know, we just want to get it done, and we want to, like I was telling Tim, our plan is to work with you and not against you. So we're gonna put some we're going to put the dollars into it one way or another. And with the capital investment, if you feel that glass needs to be there, I'm just thinking if we're going to add the awning, then it kind of obstructs it anyway. So if there's no awning, then glass is not a problem for us.
Well, I'm pretty confident that that would have been glass originally. And the other thing that's not shown here is that the storefront glass itself, there might have been a transom rail going all the way around, separating the front glass into lower and upper sections. And, you know, I suppose it may have been, you know, full height glass, but it also is equally possible that there was a transom. We just don't have an old enough picture to.
Yeah, no, I don't. So I thought what we kind of rendered up and drew up with Tim made good sense. There are several other buildings in the area, so I can appreciate the historic piece of it, but in terms of consistency going down a block, we try to replicate, you know, many of the other storefronts that are out. I think we're going the extra mile. If I can get you, Nate, to scroll back up to the rendering. We're going to put the beveled panels or the raised panel below and above with a multicolor, you know, finish there. Yep, exactly. And I think, you know, whether those are glass or not on the interior, if we go with the awning, then they're obstructed just the same. But like I said, I don't have any opposition. I think we're shooting for that door style and that window facade that's there. So
Would the doors be tall, like more like 7 feet, or are you replacing?
I think
existing
there's
opening?
7.0. I think there's 7.0 openings right now. But we cannot
like 6'8" to me.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
we don't have Margaret, we don't have an issue with going up a little bit. It's just a little bit more carpentry. The entire storefront's going to be removed. So
I'm just asking,
yeah.
like, so I know exactly what you're proposing.
I think I think the estimate we received and the proposal that we have was for what was in place. We were just visually just trying to keep the line. So the windows and the transom rail, like Doug was commenting, I think was going to be all one piece visually coming across. And then the door, if you could go back to the original.
And is it a single door or a double? Because again, from this angle, we just aren't seeing the
doubles.
full.
They're
So you're
doubles.
keeping the double. Okay.
Correct. Mhm.
Jim, do you have an architect on the shelf?
We do. I believe his name escapes me right now, Bill or William. We got one of the 3 architects that the city has worked with, and we've kind of.
Yeah, this is an SRP project, correct? Excuse my interruption.
Correct.
Renovation program. You're in
Yeah.
that. Okay. All right. Well, I noticed you do have like elevations with just the windows, not in the building. But you go back up 2 or 3 pages to that where the
from the interior.
there's elevation diagrams of the floor plan, and back up one more maybe. Yes, here we go. So here are elevations of the glass. So it is proposed to have a transom rail going across.
Correct.
And so they've got the frame sizes detailed, but they're not referenced to anything like the floor level, because that transom rail needs to match where the transom is between the door and the transom. So,
sorry, my dog's delivery person came, so we had a dog attack. But where I was going with my question was, I think for me, just we need architectural drawings of the elevation.
Sure.
Without the awning. I don't know if we should review the awning and lighting.
Right, we're working on that. It's just the timing of it was I couldn't get Bill to squeeze them out quick enough.
Correct. Understood. It's more just, I think that I mean, I know we very much trust Tim's expertise in the storefront area. We just need more accurate graphic representation for approval in terms of what's happening.
Not just
the bulkhead,
the
the bulkhead, the transoms, the windows, the doors, the detail at the bottom. it looks great in the rendering, but a lot of times I think that applicants are depending heavily on Tim's rendering and we need to just have
Yeah, no,
confirmation
I think,
via
I
architectural
think,
plans.
yeah, the plan is to get the elevations, the detailed elevations to you. We just didn't make them in time, so we kind of utilize this was supplied to us by the storefront people. Again, we're working on that. So
Okay.
I
if
mean,
you
I
just want- we
support the
could- yeah,
direction this is going,
Yes.
but we just need to see more.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
definitely agree with Margaret. And it just says like an added note to that, like ensure that the floor
Sure.
plans, because what you're showing on the plans doesn't have the windows in the wings at the entry. And we just want to make sure that what's just all plans, elevations, details are accurately representing what you're going to do. But I totally agree with Margaret. I don't
Right,
see
yeah,
any
that
issues with
floor
what you're
plan,
presenting.
right.
Correct. So does that, I don't know if this is for concept review or if this is meant to be for final. I think if,
well, it's getting late into the year anyhow for us, so I don't know how quickly or how slowly this is gonna move at this point based on contractors and just supply chain anyhow. So we were looking for final and we could submit the architectural plans as soon as we can get them, but again, we're just kind of waiting on them at this point.
we aren't allowed to approve things via a later submission.
Gotcha, okay.
We have to do it in the meeting. So I would recommend, if you're in agreement, to just table it, and when you have that ready, we can hopefully get you on as quickly as possible. And
Should we go through the rest of it just to kind of look and see, make sure? Let's just Nate, just scroll down and just see if there's any other facet or any other questions you have other than the elevations, because once they come, that I think they'll answer all the questions. I
Yes.
think there were some patterns and some colors that we had proposed as well with Tim. Keep coming down.
Yeah, so we'll want to see accurate plans and elevations. If there are details pertaining to that awning, we would want to see those details, lighting styles, in locations on the front facade that you're proposing,
Any
and then
paint,
paint colors, specific paint colors.
Yeah, keep coming down, Nate. I thought we had some S&W proposals. Just trying to remember where in that was that we kind of sent down. Keep coming to the last page. I thought we had some swatches and some stuff in, so maybe this is not the last one that we had sent in, but so I know they're already in the updated version. So basically you want awning. I'm sorry, is it Antonia?
Yes.
Antonia, you were rattling some things off and I couldn't.
Yeah,
get
I'll
them
go for it.
all.
Floor plan,
Awning, go ahead.
elevations drawn
Okay.
accurately. Details for that awning, including like attachment method. We want it to hit, the attachment pieces to hit at the mortar lines of the existing historic brick. If it's even in that area. If it's in the bulkhead, then that gives you.
I'm sorry, you wanted to hit at the.
Oh, it's not attaching the brick in the rendering, just a section cut of the detail of the awning. The lighting location and styles proposed, including finish.
You mean the exterior lighting or
Exterior,
interior lighting?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, exterior only. Then specific paint colors, which
Do you have Antonia, do you have anything in particular in mind? Because we're really open, and so this is something that we're trying to get through historical. Do you have anything that you'd like to see? Because I'm indifferent to lighting as long as there is lighting.
I mean, I would defer to Tim, and if he has recommendations. I think it's a question like, are you going to put a surface mount lighting in that little recess?
I think that's what the proposal is. It would be more for the shop. The signage that's outside, there is a proposal to restore the sign in the future, where that's just going to be a much longer project.
Did you find someone to work on the sign?
Tim has given us, and we're working with Sandy and everybody there. They've given us a couple recommendations of people that have done them in the past. So our plan is to kind of get with them at some time in the future. When we actually bought the building, Somebody else that was looking at it was talking about tearing it down. And so I'm a native New Yorker. We've done a lot of, rehab renovations. So we like to keep, the aesthetics of the neighborhood. And so it looks like even some of the city projects that they're doing, although albeit they're contemporary and they are a lot more modern, it would have been nice to see the city kind of participate in the look of the rest of the avenue is all I can say. So, but I do see there's like an antique shop, and we are developers, so we are looking at some other projects on the city as well. It's an antique shop down the street that's in pretty bad shape. So as we bring people to the table, our hope and goal is to kind of like bring these properties and kind of like restore that corridor to that kind of like old school look.
If you need additional resources for the sign, there is, it's just called the American Sign Museum. It's in Cincinnati, but they work around the state, and I think they probably have contacts. Well, I know they have contacts for people that restore neon signs.
Okay.
Yeah, Jim, I think that it just depends. Is the awning a requirement on Tim's end from storefronts? Or is it suggestion?
I think it was a suggestion.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it. Part of
Yeah,
me
because I
said,
think
part of me
if you
liked the
didn't-
taller windows like Doug was referencing with the transom windows. I kind of almost like that old school delicatessen, old school door. And there's still some conversation about maybe some different materials instead of going with an aluminum clad, with maybe doing something a little bit more accurate to period with the two main entries. So this way, the consumer, when people walking in and out, that's the one thing they grab. It's very personal. They see it in their hand. So there's some discussion about maybe seeing if we can find some doors that we can kind of, fit into that might be wood based. There's a part of me that kind of harkens to a bell ringing behind it when somebody walks in. So
yeah, if you guys there's certainly examples along this corridor of Lorain in the historic district and that have used the storefront renovation program that do not include an awning element. I just don't know where Tim's, if you had evidence of that or something, whatever
he felt that went with the building. I kind of like the cleaner piece of it. And just with the sign the way it is and with the taller transoms. So I may go back to Tim and maybe ask him that question again.
Yeah, and it's because the reason I'm asking is if you do have surface mount lighting, like for example in that bulkhead, or you have some kind of signage lighting, whatever you decide in terms of the awning there or not, and whatever you decide in terms of lighting, I think if you had the awning, it makes sense to probably light that entry vestibule from a surface mount then. And if you didn't have the awning, it probably makes sense to have some sort of sign lighting. And there are, I think Tim could provide guidance in the historical appropriateness for both of those types of fixtures. Are you guys doing anything with those upper windows? Is he frozen or am I frozen?
I think he's frozen.
Okay.
Jim? Oops. Well, hopefully he can hear us.
Oh shoot, did he drop off?
A second,
What should
maybe pop back on.
Yes. There was that question, and did he also mention like anything on the sides of the building? I'm not sure if that's going to be part of SRPs, but in the photos,
I recall, yes.
I don't know how SRP is going to view that because I've had clients where they did consider the secondary facade due to visibility. And obviously right now this has nothing on either side. So those are my two remaining questions.
Jim is back.
Oh, good.
Hi, Jim, can you hear us? Jim.
Sorry about that, guys. It looks like I lost you.
That's okay. Jim, just my two remaining questions to for this is, are you doing anything with the second floor windows in this proposal?
Just one second. Let me get looks like my building lost the internet connection. So I just kind of dialed back in with my phone. So let me get my earbuds on here really quick. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Not here, everybody. Not sure if you guys can see me or not.
Yes.
We can see you and hear you.
I can barely hear you. So just one second here. Let me kind of get on my phone here and see what's going on. Are you guys there?
Yes. I see you and hear you. So Jim, it looks like Antonia's maybe frozen up there. So she was going to ask you about the sides of the building also. Are you planning to do anything on the sides of the building besides paint? Nope, Jim, now it's gone again.
Do we want to?
One
Why
second.
don't we just,
My computer
okay.
came back up, so just bear with me a second. Let me see if I could jump back in, if you can hear me or not.
I hear you, Jim. We don't see
There
you.
you go. I hear you. There you go. I picked up my phone. So, okay. So it sounds like I've got the bit of detail from Antonia. So I'm going to kind of take that. Just looking at the facade there again. If we forego the canopy, then we'll try to come up with some lighting that makes good sense, and we'll work with Tim to see what options he's got or thinks make sense if we go without the canopy there.
Okay, two last questions.
Sure.
Are you doing anything with the second floor windows on the front facade?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing anything with the second floor windows on the front
No.
facade?
Nope, we're
Okay,
just
and then-
doing the painted gray facade in the front, and then the building all the way around, we'll have to repaint it.
So you are going to paint the sides of the building?
Correct. As part of the SRP program, that was a proposal that Tim is putting in there.
So we would want, make sure that you also include that paint color selection as well as the type of paint to ensure that's an appropriate to.
Yeah, I think Tim gave us a spec for the paint.
Okay.
I think when it came to the color, we were going to just work with S&W, Sherwin-Williams, and just try to get a paint match or something that makes sense. So I don't know that there is a number, but I can probably get something that's close to it. Or if you have something that you like in terms of a brick color that, you guys have a recommendation, I'm all ears. We're going to try to match the brick facade as close as possible. But as you see, even in the imagery, it's got some, darker stuff and some lighter stuff. We did a couple little sections just to kind of clean up the brick and see if we could get it all lightened. And that is the clean version of that brick facade.
Okay. I think if you just have your architect coordinate and work with Tim on what's appropriate, you'll be in good shape and just provide the spec to ensure that it's appropriate for historic brick application.
Great.
And I think you're all set then for what we can give you. today.
Are you guys doing a December meeting then, or
I believe we are doing two.
what's the date of that?
Nate, can you confirm?
I want to say it's December 9th, but I would defer to Donna.
Our next design review meeting is December 2nd.
Second.
Okay.
Landmarks is December 9th, but you wouldn't be able to be on their agenda. But since you're SRP, you wouldn't have to be anyway.
Yeah, and then are we having the 16th meeting tentatively?
We would have one more meeting after the 2nd.
Okay,
Okay.
So 2nd or
then
16th,
You'll have
Jim.
You'll have one mid-December before the holidays then?
I think so. I need to confirm. I guess it would be up to the committee.
Okay. If you did have one, it would be around the 16th then?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna try to work with architect and see if we can get that far out and see if we can get it done before then.
Okay, and if you can reach out to Tim Barrett and Terry Sandy at SRP, that would be helpful too. That would help move your project along.
Okay. All right. All right, gang. Well, thank you for your time today. We'll just keep moving forward, and hopefully, next time we get together, we'll have those detailed elevations. And then if we do move with an awning, we'll have the awning detail for the attachment on the front side. And then Doug, we'll let you know where we'll work with Tim and the architect and see where we end up with the doors and the door sizes. But in either case, we'll have a detail elevation so that you guys can reference.
Great. All right, did anyone make a motion to table yet? I don't think so.
I'll make a motion to table.
A second?
I'll second.
Nate, please call the roll.
Doug Wall,
Aye.
Margaret Land,
Aye.
Antonia Marinucci,
Hi.
Alex Frondorf.
Aye.
The motion is to table.
Awesome. All
All
right.
right, thank you, Jim.
Well, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate your patience and your insights. And hopefully next time we meet, we'll get this all done. And look at that. My computer came back up just in the nick of time. All right, guys. You have a great afternoon. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so our next applicant was 3911 Bridge Avenue. Is anybody here for this?
Yes, I'm representing Nicole Ward, the owner of 3911 and 3915 Bridge.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
How you doing? Well, my proposal is for an alteration at 3911 Bridge. It's a 4 foot by 5 foot awning over the porch, which consists of 2 4x4 posts. The existing porch didn't have an overhead, and the homeowner, Nicole Ward, she figured it would be nice to have an overhead over this porch. So when it snows or rain, the snow won't just pack on top of the porch. So in that case, I'm trying to get the permit for that. Then also, Donald Pettit, he suggests I probably look into the railing in the front of the yard. It's 6 feet long, and we believe that would probably enhance that property too, because the property is so bare and plain, and the original porch is still existing. I was just going to put the overhead shed awning on top of that.
Alan,
Go ahead, Bob.
Alan, did you find this historic photo? Have you seen this one that's in here? Did they provide
Yeah,
this to you?
I seen the one from 1961, I believe.
Yeah, so in this particular case, because we have evidence of what looks like the original entry, of both of these properties, and I know we're looking at 3911, but you have both in there. What would be the best route? And what should happen is to, if you're going to add or enhance this porch, is to do it in the manner that is accurate to this historic photos. And it doesn't look like the construction that's currently in place is in line with what's shown here.
Okay, the homeowner, Nicole Ward, she bought the property less than a year ago. Nothing was existing except the porch that's originally there. None of that existed. I could see how it had a little hip roof and two posts on there with no railing. Is that what you're proposing? Is that what you think?
Yeah, so, and I don't know if you or the homeowner were aware of the historic district requirements, but we're tasked with determining if something is appropriate to the district. So in this case, because there is historic evidence, we would want to see the porch, any alterations to this porch, to be in the direction of that historic. I understand if she bought something and it was like, you know, the bottom is the way it is. We're not necessarily saying you have to change that if that's not part of the scope of work, but I would say that you would want the awning to be reconstructed in the manner that's shown in that photo. So doing it like a hip style would be the best
Since there is
option.
no post going up on the corner of that, then there must be brackets we can't really discern from looking head on at it. So it must be supported with brackets off the front wall.
Yeah, it looked like it had brackets up there, but then it also has posts. The posts look like they're less, like close to about 3 feet apart.
Yeah, it does look like there's a railing.
And it looked, I mean, but
Are you
the
talking
porch,
about the columns that you can see right there
On either
are on
side
the
of the door.
facade?
Those are adjacent to those are back in the.
Yeah,
front of
those
the
are
door.
on the facade, and it doesn't look like those exist anymore, unfortunately.
No.
So it looks like there's a narrow depth hip portion of the roof, and then there's a handrail at, you know, the handrail level. But
Yeah, I
those
see that.
columns are those are just part of the historic doorway. They're not part of the roof structure, which unfortunately they're not there anymore.
Okay, and also this photo here shows no lights on the door, which when we bought the property, this door here has lights on each side. The porch also, let me see. I don't really see if it had railing on the side, but it might have. And I know the caps on that railing would be has to go with your coordination to the other properties instead
Sure.
of just the
So,
regular.
so what is the extent of the scope of work that you're proposing? Just the roof structure, or are you modifying the railings as well?
Oh yeah, I was going to put railing, which was already on the old porch, and I was going to do the same height and everything according to the way it was. I was just going to put a shed roof on top of the porch,
On top of that trellis roof that's already there. Well,
Yeah.
if you look at where that trellis roof is, the height on the front elevation, it's way too low. The original roof, the dip roof, if you in a second, if you flip back to the old photo, you can see it's about the bottom of that is about 2 or 3 siding boards above the window edge of the first floor. You see what I'm talking about? That's much higher.
Yeah, and also now there's a window above that door.
Like
so there's a window. So there's 3 windows above that porch.
So you don't have to put the transom back if you're not doing anything with the rest of that area, but I think you need to put the porch roof at the correct height and support it with brackets, you know, probably 45-degree angle brackets back to the front wall. You're basically cutting those 2 existing posts down the railing height.
Can you repeat that one more time?
They take the porch roof off and the two existing corner posts there at the edge of the porch, cut those down to railing height, and then the porch roof is supported by a diagonal bracket on either side.
I'm not even sure that would cut it, because cutting those down to what were going in that 1961 photo, that's just treated lumber on the front. I mean, that's deck material. It doesn't belong with the house. I think everything that's there that needs to come off.
Well, Alex, in fairness to the applicant, they bought the property with that there. It's been there for a long time, it looks like. And if it's not part, if that alteration isn't part of this, I don't know that we should or can task them with recreating the entire entry if they're just wanting to add the overhang.
To me, it seemed like it almost seemed to be unethical to a sense, because it's so narrow, bringing furniture and stuff in, and the 4x4 posts on each end of the steps, which opens that up so they can bring furniture and stuff in. Because what I'm seeing, unless I'm looking at it wrong, those, wait, hold on, I'm sorry. Because you did have diagonal brackets coming off the top, off this top hip roof up there. But the posts in between, if we had to bring that back to that standard, it seemed like it would be kind of unorthodox, because I got the window lights on each side of the door.
Right, and I'm not saying that you put that there. That's not my comment. It's just, in order to do it right, which is something that we would have to approve, I'm not sure that you can work with what's there to make it right.
Often, Alan, what happens in these properties is that they aren't necessarily to today's code, but the historic district mandates kind of can override that in a historic district. So you know, your goal is to propose something that's close to what was there based on this historic photo. And then if you are modifying the handrails, I would also recommend going off of this historic photo as well. And typically the Landmarks Commission would approve, you know, the handrail being a little bit lower than today's code.
Okay, could you consider we put the same hip roof over the top, and I put the decorative, those decorative posts that I see all around Ohio City in place of the 4x4 posts, which will bring it up to that aesthetics, I believe, where I think instead of putting down the diagonal bracket up underneath the roof, we put the decorative posts up. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, posts up, but decorative posts
Like
up
proposing
on the corner all the way up like it is now?
Exactly.
No,
I just changed it.
We need the bracket. The diagonal bracket is going to be much more authentic.
Okay. So you're saying just railing and diagonal brackets instead of posts?
Yes.
And a hip roof?
Yes.
Rather than a shed roof?
And now, Alan, building and housing will also probably need to see some more technical structural drawings than the sketch that was provided, just as a heads up to you. I don't know if you've talked to them yet.
Okay, so you want an architectural drawing of this proposal?
Yes.
Yes, that would be ideal. Building and housing will probably require that as well, because you're kind of at the first stop. Once Landmarks approves, it'll go to the building and housing department, and they will want to see the structural components beyond just the sketch. And one other comment that I have, in your drawing, the sketch shown, you're showing like a cross lattice at the bottom of the porch skirting. I would just recommend like a really simple vertical slat lattice.
Okay,
Tends
so
to be a bit more on the skirting. It just it's the cross hatch lattice is really not usually historically accurate.
and
Oh,
and
it
I
would either be on the square
agree with
lattice
you,
or the
everything
Yeah.
on the porch. I'm sorry, man. I agree with you with the vertical lattice, but everything on the porch is existing. It was existent. I don't know if
That's fine. If you're gonna keep the base of the porch totally as is, that
And
I
that's
think
okay. Yeah.
that's okay. Just make sure it's accurately represented, because I'm just reading that if I'm interpreting that as a change.
Okay.
But if it's not, then just clarify that it's existing to remain.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that too.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we?
And
Do
I think,
you? Oh, sorry.
oh,
Go
if
ahead.
the new material, preferably like for the posts and the railing and everything, to be out of wood so that it could be painted and
Yeah, I agree with that. But now I believe we're talking about eliminating the post and putting diagonal brace and brackets up there, right?
yes.
That
But if you're,
wouldn't have the
you
post.
said you're going to change the railing though too, correct?
Well, see, the railing is what was up there is
Oh,
existing. I just
okay,
change the
sorry.
top rail so I can add the post.
Well,
I mean, the post had
Spindles.
a big part.
Spindles. You're just gonna add spindles there.
Yeah, 2x2 spindles,
Carl, do you
just
know,
like it was before. Everything I was gonna do on, as far as the porch wise, everything would be the same. I was just gonna put the overhead. I already put the 4x4 post, which I should have waited, but and before we didn't have any drawings. Down at the city, they didn't have any drawings of the house before this, and then it was sent to me how it looked back then. So really, I'm getting a new idea of everything you're proposing.
I mean, ideally, all of that would be removed and redone. I understand that you bought, or it was purchased in June of this year. I see that it's owned by an LLC. Is this property or is this primary residence? You know?
I didn't get the total scope of what you were saying. Say that one more time. Come on.
Yeah, I was just asking, I see that this is owned by an LLC. Do you know if this is an investment property or if it's intended to be a primary residence?
I believe this is an investment property. The owner is Nicole Ward. That's Denzel Ward, one of the Browns players' mother. She wants to do whatever I guess you figure she need to do to bring it up to par.
Yeah, Ellen, I would recommend, or my recommendation would be that everything that you see there in that picture should be removed, and you should start over and do it with proper drawings and do it the right way. I know that you didn't put that there. I'm not saying that, but in an ideal world, that's what happens. Because nothing about that picture is right.
Great.
Not one thing. So the steps, the railings, the base of it, it's all. Since it's an investment property, I'd really urge you to just consider clean slate starting over with.
Yeah.
You mean like a total repair, total renovation?
Yeah, and it would look so much better, Ellen. It would be the curb appeal would increase dramatically if you got rid of all that.
It would be a great value improvement.
Investment
Curb
property,
appeal, curb appeal is very important and valuable in the neighborhood, so it would be a great value add. I think Alex isn't requiring that. I think he's just highly suggesting it. Nate and Donna, maybe you guys could help point Alan in a couple of directions architecturally if necessary on this one.
Yeah, I'd be happy to send you some recommendation, or not recommendations, but some names of people that are in the neighborhood that are familiar with projects like this. And we can take this conversation regarding that offline, Alan.
Okay.
Alan, would you be, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I beg your pardon, ma'am?
I just was asking if you would be okay with tabling this proposal.
Well, I'm gonna submit it to her and see if she'd like to go, however she feels.
Yeah.
I can understand.
Versus, so the two things we can do are take a vote on it, which I think you would get a no vote based on the material presented right now, or you can table it and then bring it back when you guys
Have more
the meeting
information.
discussed with her and have the information in line and then.
Okay, and okay, also, if you see in front, I put up a railing, like a little gate. It's like 8 feet long.
Oh, like a fence?
Oh, that fence?
Short fence, because the house is so dull and plain. It really is this eyesore to the neighbors. The neighbors like the project that's going on. They think it's a good enhancement so far.
If you could, when you come back, if you could provide the information for that fence too, like material, height. I don't know if that was permitted or not. What I can see from the photo looks like it could be appropriate. So if you could just provide more information on that as well as part of your presentation next time, then we can address that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever draws up the details, have them put in the details on the fence as well.
Okay. And also let me add, next door, 3915, the front door didn't have a porch rail. And she suggested we put a porch rail up. Again, I jumped the gun and I just put a railing on the right side. And it matches the railing to the property next door, 3911. It looks good, but I don't know if I should have a permit. Do I need a permit for that?
Do you have a picture of it?
It's only 2 steps. Yeah, it should be. It should be with some of the other drawings, if you could see. Well, you really don't see next. I don't think.
Yeah, I think if you can just include that, if you could include photos of that, or if you do decide to modify both in your next presentation. I don't know that you need that by code, but if you want it, then we can certainly look at it.
Yeah, I want everything to be right. And also above that door, there's no existing awning. I wasn't planning on putting one there. There's a awning on top of the 39. I mean, on the drawing in 61, there was an awning above it.
Yeah, it looks like they're like little twin awnings.
Yeah.
And I would use the same thing if you guys plan to add that to 3915. Use the same photos, same method that we've laid out. Kind of process we've laid out. Both are in the historic district, so we would be seeing you for that too. If you guys decide to do a modification.
Okay, now this also is, both of these houses are triplexes. So in back of the house on 3911, I was wondering, it's just a deck slab with nothing over the porch for the residence doors. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I was wondering, would I need a permit for that if I put a little awning over the top of that?
Yes, you would. Although you wouldn't need to. This committee's, our task is the primary facade, the front facade. So I don't think you wouldn't have to come to us for that, for historic approval, but you would need. You may have figured out that it's difficult to do work in this neighborhood without a permit. Lots of eyes on this neighborhood, so.
Okay.
Alan, I can help you with some of those questions. This is Donna again from Ohio City.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we can chat more, but I do think we need to try to come to some sort of resolution today on this.
Okay, I appreciate that. How do you you think I should get the architectural drawing and call you, or you could help me with the design plan and we come from there, or how do you?
So I can't help you with the design at all. I can just give you some recommendations on, what is typically approved in the neighborhood. And I think you have some direction from this committee today on what you need to do. So I would take that into effect and talk to an architect. And then we could talk more about permits regarding the rear and other work you might be doing.
Okay, sounds good.
Would somebody like to make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table.
Second,
I'll second.
Nate, please call the roll.
All right, so the motion is to table. Doug Wall,
Yes.
Antonio Marinucci,
Yes.
Margaret Land,
Aye.
Alex Frondorf.
Aye.
Okay, so this item has been tabled.
So Alan, again, just to repeat, so I just want to make sure this just means that you can come back in a couple weeks with more information. Do you think you have most of the questions that you wanted regarding the front of the buildings that you're
Yes.
renovating answered?
Yes, I believe I do. It's I have a couple of areas where I might be a little confused as far as the
Okay.
brackets and the posts. But other than that, I got a scope of what you're asking.
Okay, and then just make sure when you come back, you also have photos of both of the front of the building where it's at now and what you propose to do, and then also the fence or any other changes to the front that you've done to either building.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll talk later, Alan. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Alan.
Have a good day.
You too, man.
Okay, so our next applicant is Gus's Fried Chicken, Ohio City. Is there anybody here for this one?
Hey Nate, are we taking the Franklin project off the agenda?
Franklin is on the agenda. They're last.
Okay, they're last. And I have a hard stop at 125, just.
Okay. Is anybody here for Gus's Chicken?
Yes, hi, Jim JP Potacek,
Hello.
and I believe that Josh Humphrey was on earlier, who's the owner and the representative from Peas and Carrots Hospitality. So, but happy to start off, and hello, everybody. I guess just for purposes of kind of vuja day, if it feels like, wait a minute, I remember this project. We were in front of the Ohio City Design Review back in early 2019. And unfortunately, courtesy of a small little pandemic, plans for putting the restaurant forward were stalled. Courtesy of that lag in time, anything that we had worked or endeavored to seek approval on had officially lapsed. So we're back basically to present essentially the same project and kind of starting from the bottom to work our way through. So I'm happy to walk through for anyone who wasn't part of that original presentation, or just, I guess, to refresh everyone's memory of what Gus's was proposing to do. So start point in terms of location, this is sort of on the west end of Church, very close to 25th Street. And let's see, St. John's is just down the street, essentially, in terms of location as well. And then there is a vacant parking lot to our east as well, but we can keep going. These were then some reference pictures for the Morgan, more or less kind of its existing condition. It has been used most recently about 3 years ago as a residence up on the second floor and as an artist gallery on the first floor. Yeah, I'm sorry if they came in a little large. The nice thing is that aside from, some modifications, you can kind of see the bones of what was there. Landmarks did include this reference photo from back in the day.
And I wanted to, sorry, James, to interrupt. I wanted to let the committee know that this project was approved prior. And It is back since the permits have expired, and the owners had some COVID delays, but they're back to seek approval.
Right.
Again, for it's the same presentation or mostly the same information, correct, James?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
And I can
just
walk
wanted
through,
to let
there
the
were
committee know that history.
No, thank you. And there were a couple of minor pivots that came in talking to storefront renovation, some final things that we worked out in permitting that probably weren't facts that we presented the last go around, but we're happy to represent kind of the full circle again. So again, the building is painted, but it does have that kind of brick quality right now. And then we're hoping to kind of reopen a lot of what's been kind of closed down over time with this proposal to kind of open up that front facade a little bit more again and make it slightly less imposing. Again, this is sort of the east view towards the east. There's an existing mural that is more than slightly overgrown right now, but that is a next conversation as well about maybe possibly having that restored as well. And this is just the neighboring property to the left of us. We share a very small kind of alleyway connection that's just to the west of our building. There's a little alleyway of space that can get access to the back of the building. And then this is sort of just to the south of us across the way. And this is sort of just north of the parking lot that's east of us as well. So, maybe if you could kind of just zoom into, maybe let's start with the demo first, which is lower left-hand corner. So we're going to leave the door that's shown on the far left side of the front facade. That's sort of just a service entrance door. The door will be repainted, but we are taking out the hollow metal doors, and we're going to expand that existing opening back to essentially its full original width and do an infill storefront framing glazing setup there in a dark bronze. And then where the arched opening is on the right side of the front facade that's kind of been blocked in, and there's that weird small wood pediment. We'll take that off and clean that up with just another storefront infill sort of at counter height as well. And that will then be essentially with another dark bronze infill as well. There are some minor windows that are on the side of the wall. Those are functionally kind of a little bit in the way, so we will probably block those in. Again, we're almost at a zero lot line to start with, so leaving them doesn't gain us a whole lot. And then there's just a small stair in the back that we're going to kind of rebuild and re-preserve so that we can have some access to the basement, as we are going to have to close off for creating some seating area with a former wood stair that goes down to the basement right off that front door. If you want to go to the elevate, and the second floor is just going to basically, the existing conditions are essentially being maintained. There are windows that we're leaving in place. They were replaced at some point in time. They seem like they're in functional shape right now and wouldn't need to be replaced. And then if you look over on the right side, the front elevation. So we kind of have a prelim demo and the front elevations at this point. So the existing door on the left would be repainted. We can select a color, but it's probably going to end up being kind of a dark bronze. I know that the metal cap, as the roof turns down, would also be done in a dark bronze. The storefront system would be a dark bronze. In a nod to the kind of branding, the RLM fixtures that we're kind of setting up over the doors, over the existing door and then over the new door and new window infill systems, those are kind of a yellow, but it's kind of a standard RLM fixture. There'll be an LED source. And basically the only suggestion that I think it came maybe from Landmarks was that there was a request that we repaint the coins with essentially a dark brown kind of color. So we had agreed what that is. We do have a color somewhere, and I just can't seem to put my hands on what it was specifically going to be painted. And then we are going to then include this kind of blade sign condition, which you can see is just below and to the left on the screen. The proportions changed just a little bit. So it's basically a 6x4 double-sided sign that would basically be mounted kind of perpendicular into the outside wall of the building to the right of the windows. There's kind of a blank spot in that location. So
the idea is that an illuminated sign?
Actually, what we were toying with, because this is kind of a bifurcated location, we've got residential that's off to the west, and then we've got kind of the main street side. We were toying with doing the street side that faces 25th, sort of just with some internal illumination, and that the side that faces the residential, we were actually toying, if we were going to be potentially good neighbors, if we could do that as sort of a non-illuminated sign, but it would be the same messaging, same profile and everything else, but then just do kind of a exterior illumination so that we could cut that off earlier if that's going to be a disturbance to the neighbors. So a little bifurcated, but that was at least our first thought, because, you know, there's been conversations about all of the development that's going in on Church. If we're trying to be sensitive, we went through the block club discussion at the time, and there was a lot of sensitivity to this being kind of a bridge between the commercial and the residential to start with. So that was one of the things we were toying with that we thought might be kind of a nod to being good neighbors, that we could shut kind of the west side of the face of the sign off and keep kind of the traffic facing side on 25th in play. But that was a consideration. So
I was trying to figure out on the drawings where the sign is going. And I know you just gave us a verbal description. I didn't see it.
If you can look either on the plan in the lower left, there's a blade sign above on the proposed plan. So if you just scoot over a little bit to the left and down. So that proposed plan, you can see there's a tag that says blade sign above in the lower right corner of that drawing. Sorry, I wish I could point at it.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, thank you.
Side of the front.
Yes, and what's better is if you could slide up into the right where the front elevation is, the proposed front elevation. There's a box. The building is eccentric in terms of where the window placement is, and there's kind of a fatter brick area on the far right side on the second floor. So there's a note that says New Gus's Chicken sign 6x4.
Thank you.
So the box is just holding that centering spot. It misses the coins, it misses the windows, but it's, you know, as we were looking at this, it seemed like the perfect place to put it, where it's sort of in the rhythm of the facade and is taking advantage of the eccentric nature of what's on the building to start with.
Well, I prefer to see that sign externally illuminated on both sides.
Okay.
We also usually require that the mounting be through mortar and not through the brick.
Yeah, and we have plenty of brick joints to do that. So, you know, working wherever those panel points are, we can certainly coordinate that.
Yeah, if you could call it out so that, you know, a contractor doesn't make a mistake.
Fair point. Yeah. Left to chance that won't happen. So
I have a few questions for you, James.
And JP is fine. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, JP.
I feel like my mom's scolding me if I call James. Sorry.
Before you
No, it's
begin,
fine. I forgot. Yeah.
I have to run for a work emergency. Is there a quorum if I duck out? There is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I apologize.
That's okay.
Thank you.
JP, my questions are in the floor plans. Looking at the floor plans, the second floor is showing what looks like a little inset that has windows that are proposed being filled. But when I look at the building, because that facade is visible, given the fact that there's the parking lot next to it.
Yep.
But I don't see that inset in real life. Is that like just a drawing error, or am I missing something? Is it
Actually,
behind that?
if you could pull up that elevation that shows that sort of the west wall of it.
Mhm.
No, the photograph, I'm sorry.
Because
So
there's like
it'd
the
be-
mural with the ivy over it.
Yes, it's almost impossible to see, but there is some sort of a wall that's built over it now. So it's kind of a weird
Oh.
interstitial space. It looks onto nothing right now.
So
So,
where is the proposal to remove that portion of the wall?
well,
That the,
as it's
I'm just trying to figure out what's going
Yeah.
on back there.
it was just a weird content since we're using the second floor in that area, not as really anything. We just figured it was going to be a safety thing. Let's just wall it off and not have a weird window looking onto nowhere. So it's like an outdoor indoor space. I guess you could climb through the window, but it's of no practical value, but you cannot see it. There's a wall.
Is the
that-
wall, is the way it's shown in this photograph right now going to stay just like that
Yes.
from the streets?
We
Okay.
we were not planning on removing anything to expose windows. It's just a
So
weird.
it's just gonna look just like that. And okay, that's
just
why
like
I
that.
was, I just seen, okay. That was one question. The other question I have is, I don't see paint colors on here unless I'm missing it somewhere. So if we could have clarification on that, that would be great. And I'm also like a little surprised that you said that Landmark said to do a dark bronze, because typically we would want the sandstone coins and the capping to be, if they're already painted and need to be repainted, to be painted a color of natural stone rather
Yeah,
than
and
a
you know that
bronze.
this went back and forth. I'm gonna see if I can find we had some emails with Dan Musson that we were talking about, and I think with Don Pettit.
That would be my preference, to see them painted a sandstone color. I think it's very weird looking, like right now as it is a dark color. It's unclear what that material even is.
Yeah. Carl, are you on the phone by chance?
I am.
Any chance you remember, or your memory is better than mine, of someone went to look at this and I thought there was some conversation that it was a browner stone, unless I'm just remembering that incorrectly.
I do not. Did this go through storefront at any point?
Yes.
And maybe it was them that mentioned it.
Because someone went up, maybe it was Dan Musson, I don't know, but I thought the conversation that circled back was a conversation about going to a brown paint on the stone, because it was already painted.
Tim is usually the one that requires it to be sandstone colored.
Okay.
If it is sandstone. So this
Right.
did go through storefront several years ago?
Yes.
Was it
So
approved
unless
by
there's a
storefront, Carl?
reason,
Yeah, I guess unless there's a reason, I just don't know what it is. It's just unusual. And it's obviously a little detail item.
And we're happy if that sandstone color is the preferred, that's fine. I just, again, I'm remembering, not even remembering what I had for breakfast, let alone, what color did we agree to?
No,
paint something.
understood.
Um,
Understood.
But that was at least my memory, so.
My other question, and kind of a similar question, is I'm also a little bit surprised that the storefront was approved like in a way that seems to be contradictory to the historic photo in terms of having two different entrances. I don't want to make you guys go backwards in your process by any means, but I don't know if my colleagues also noted that it seems in the historic photo that there should be two separate entrances versus one lintel with a storefront system. That seems like a historic intervention, like an intervention to the facades.
Well, there were two, I mean, this is certainly not what it looked like originally either, but there is the door on the left, and there's that door in the middle of that other, there were essentially three. In this photograph, you see one of the other doors that was walled off.
yeah, so it looks like a single door on the left, and originally it was a pair of doors and then another single door.
Sure. I also wonder if originally it would have had two like twin arched window.
In this picture, that lintel over the pair of doors does not extend clear across. It looks like there's brick. There's actually 1, 2, 3 lintels going across there. One for the first door, one for a pair of doors, and a single door. And I see a brick break there, where on the current existing photograph, I think maybe the brick was painted gray to match the lintel for that one little section.
It is brick.
Mhm.
It is brick now. The existing lintels are there and there is a brick condition, but at some point in time, it looks like that was reinforced to make that one opening.
Carl, is there any, do we know the historic use of the building or any other historic evidence other than the one photo we have from the 60s?
Okay, you're drawing on like 2.5-year-old
Sorry.
memories here.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cause problems. It's new for
I
me.
remember what I
wasn't on
had
the
for
board then.
breakfast though.
Doing better than me.
I think if I remember correctly, this was a printer's building.
Apprenticeship?
I don't remember what the publication was or if they were making, but that's why I think that one opening on the right would have extended all the way down and maybe horse-drawn carriages coming out of there. So it has been altered a bit, but if memory serves, it was a printer.
Okay. Then one more question from my end is there the brick facade is currently painted, it looks like. Are you going to repaint? And if so, is there a color that you're proposing?
Yeah, at the moment, the plan was that most of the paint is actually fairly solid at this point, and there was really no need to repaint at the moment from a maintenance standpoint. If we did over time have that as an issue, I mean, it's holding on really well. So if there were issues where, you know, just from a maintenance standpoint, we would do the same thing. We would just find the color match and repaint it. But it's actually in very good condition. I don't know when it was last repainted, but it's held up very well.
Okay. I think overall my preference might be to just get a little bit more information on the process that you went through with landmarks in terms of those questions that I asked in the historic context and in terms of paint color, the storefront. My preference also would be to, if you have a cut for that lighting fixture on the front facade, color, size, I would like to see that. I think you can also separate lighting and signage out of this proposal if you'd prefer to try to keep the architecture moving and then come back with those details. And then last, a little bit more information on the storefront system that you're proposing, dimensions, color, material, function, if operable. I see it's drawn, but there's a lack of technical detail that I think I would like to see.
Okay. Is that something that, so is the suggestion that this might be tabled for then the next run at this, that we provide additional information, or are these like administrative conditions at this point?
I don't know. Do my colleagues agree? I mean, like, is that?
No, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see the cut sheets.
Yeah, I think that it makes most sense to table. Carl, would you want us to see it again? Yeah, I don't think that that's something that.
I think if you guys table and they meet all your requirements, that we would approve this administratively after that.
Okay, so that would eliminate your step of having to present to the commission's meeting.
So, Jim, are you okay if we table this?
Well, I don't want to speak for the client. I know, you know, now that things are in a place where restaurants can actually be restaurants, you know, there's a push to move this forward, but, you know, we have other approvals to seek. We're kind of starting from the beginning. So, and I know we're coming up against the holidays where scheduling in meetings, you know, becomes less frequent. So, you know, if I told you I'm thrilled that we're tabling, I'd be lying. So, but I also respect, you know, the position you guys are in for holding the line on this stuff. So.
Okay, P, are you scheduled with BZA already?
Maybe. I put in an application to, well, I put in an application. I've been back and forth with Elizabeth, and she has the application. She has the credit card application. I just don't have any confirmation that she's processed it yet. So.
Yeah, I think if you get this tabled and come back in 2 weeks, I think you're still going to be a little bit out on BZA's calendar right now. So there is time to,
yeah.
So you're going to have time to meet all those requirements and then come back here and then we can sign off on that after that.
Okay. But
all right, does someone care to make a motion to table?
Well, are you okay? And we have the owner here as well. So if they're okay with it.
Yeah.
Josh,
I think.
Are you able to comment? Can't hear you, Josh. Sorry. He's okay to table. Okay. Sounds like 2 words.
And also just a question, as a neighbor, is this a like franchise, correct?
Again, it is. Josh is the franchisor for Gus's.
And is it like, is Josh a local, is he local, or is this, I'm just curious from the business side. This is not.
Josh is from the Metro Detroit area.
Okay. Just curious as a neighbor.
The chicken's amazing. Just for
I'm sure we will be there. My
I
children
have heard
will.
good things. Detroit to get it on the Cass corridor. So
I think you'll have 2 very happy little patrons out of my kids.
Wonderful.
Okay. Good luck with BCA too. Whatever process you have with them. So
Thank
then,
you.
do we have to do a motion to table?
Yes, but what happened to Doug?
Oh no. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't see him.
You can give him a minute. JP, have you gone to the block club yet? For this
One more time?
neighborhood? Have you guys gone back to the block club?
We have not gone
Or do
back
you-
to the block club. It was suggested that we come here first. And we would
Yeah,
try
because they
to
went a couple of years ago to Block Club.
several times.
They did for the BZA portion of it.
I can't remember
received-
that.
Primarily the variance that we're seeking is just a parking variance because, with all apologies, there's no place to park a car on this parcel. So
Is this
Doug is
Franklin
back.
Clinton, Donna?
Here he comes. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, your question again?
I was asking Donna if it's Franklin Clinton Block Club.
Franklin Clinton, yeah, he presented. I remember he was at the church presenting a couple years ago.
Yep. Josh brought down a fryer and we had chicken at the meeting.
Is my audio working now, guys?
Good one.
He
Yeah.
presented a few times, so.
Okay. I just want
Do we have you back, Doug?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay,
Yeah,
now
motion.
would be the time to have that motion.
All right, make a motion to table.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, Nate, please call the roll.
Doug Wall,
Yes.
Antonia Marinucci,
Yes.
and Margaret Land.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is to table for 2 weeks, hopefully.
Hopefully.
All right, this is tabled. I think we can move to what is, I believe, our last item, Nate.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Jim.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so our last applicant is Franklin Yards Porch Details. Is there anybody here for
Hey
this?
guys, I'm here. I'm trying to start video. For some reason, it's not letting me, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here as well. This is Jeff Gibbon, the architect.
So I'll let Jeff kind of walk you through it, but basically he spent a good amount of time looking at field conditions to make sure that what we're presenting is legitimate and actually can be built this.
Andrew, we lost you.
That we're kind of emulating in what we're proposing here and showing you. So, and then as well, there's really just one photograph and a specification for the fence that we plan to use. But Jeff, go ahead and take it away on the porch.
Sure. Excuse me. So the porch that we're showing here, it draws on excellent. Can you, whoever has control of this, can you go to the third page really quickly, the pictures? There. There's an existing porch off what used to be the kitchen on the east side of the building. And so what we're proposing in the front draws on the existing historic porch. This porch does appear to be original to the building. So what we're proposing on the front, if you can go back to the drawings on the first page, please. So what we're proposing on the front takes that detailing and then applies it to the front facade. We are using the porch width is the width of the outcropping in the center. The depth is 6 feet. There are concrete steps coming down. We're trying to be as historically accurate as we can with this. The comments last time, there was a lot of discussion about the railing that's on here. What we're showing is a wood railing. The railing itself is, there's a dimension of 2'11" on the drawings. The way that we accomplish this is we are using the stone belt coursing that is, it's an existing belt course on that goes around the entire house. We're pulling that across the front and then using that to create 2 brick piers effectively that come out on either end of the porch itself. The landing of the porch is 7 inches below the first floor. The belt course aligns with the first floor of the house. So we're able to get a railing that appears to be smaller, but actually is still at 3'6". So we're hoping that will make everybody happy. And I guess that's really it. We can probably take questions at this point, unless there's anything you want to add, Andrew.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if you touched on colors, but I think that generally the color scheme is within, you know, the same wood trim details that we've
That we showed previously.
Oh, I guess, yes, the color I don't think is an issue. We looked at the colors for the rest of it, but
right.
What I am concerned about, and this sort of addresses it, is you've got these photos of these existing porch posts, and you're telling them to construct the new porch posts using these as a template. And but I think you need a little more. I feel more comfortable if you're giving the carpenters a little more guidance. You know, like I was hoping we would get a plan view enlarged of the post that had an actual dimension on what you want to make the posts out there.
I think
I can't tell from this whether that's the appropriate dimension or if it matched what was there or what you're, you know, what you're trying to achieve. So, and then
what
also,
is
a section through the porch roof as well. Oh, and the last thing about the columns, on your front elevations, there's no indication of any kind of a base to the column. It just shows the column running right into the concrete porch, which I think is probably not the way it would have been originally. There would have been some kind of base on those columns.
I can respond to all of those points.
Okay.
So the first one, the posts that are drawn in the elevations and plans here are exact dimensions of what was there. We provided 1 page of enlarged drawings, which I thought what was asked. We certainly would be creating much more detailed construction drawings for the carpenters. And going through a whole shop drawing process and probably requesting actual samples to be built before we build the final products. I didn't realize that would be required here. We can go on record saying that will be provided, which would help to move us along. So let me see, that was 1 point. The second point was the section through the roof. There actually is a section through the roof on the first page in the lower left-hand corner. And the third point about the base to the post, currently on the current posts on that porch, there is not a base on those posts, and there is no evidence that I can see that there was a base. I agree that it seems a little odd that there would not be a base. But again, we were trying to just match what was there. So that's why there is no base provided here.
that porch is not there anymore, is it? I thought.
Which porch? The side porch that we're emulating
The
is there.
front porch. You said there's no evidence that the post came down with a base, but there's no porch there. So how would you know that?
No, what I'm saying is that there's no evidence on the existing porch on the east side of the house.
Well, yes, there isn't, but that would be strange, and
I agree.
So.
Jeff, would you be opposed to adding a, proportionate base to this one, just to, we also would, I guess, consider that the hierarchy between the front entrance and a side porch, that perhaps the front entrance, which it already does, have more substantial detail, but maybe just a nice base to complement.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that. That'd be fine.
Now, I have a question. When, I can't remember because I know you guys have presented quite a few of these. We've seen you a few times. So the house, I know that the history of the house is that it was an Italianate, and then the mansard roof actually is a later addition. So it's seen some stylistic changes.
Yes.
My question is, do we have any photographic evidence of any kind of porch that was here? I know that there was one, wasn't there one with ironwork at some point?
Yes, and it was in the pictures of that were in the package that we saw last time.
Right. That's why I said I know that it might not be right here, but we've seen.
Yeah, and so I don't know if we have access to that. We can certainly talk about it. I think my opinion about that porch is that number one, it's very ornate, and would be incredibly expensive to try to replicate it. But I also I don't feel that it stylistically really complements the architecture of the house.
Well, it was
as a second empire.
Correct. And it was definitely not, like, this is looking to me, this is taking it back to more of the original Italianate entrance, likely. Is, I guess, the only, or where I'm kind of leading, I'm just trying to figure out, like, we're restoring to that intention, correct? With this element?
Yeah.
And then will that mean that little scrolly on top of the current, like, ornamentation?
On top of the hoods, you mean?
Yeah, do we know what, like, maybe where does that get eaten by that new porch structure?
So we need to, that is a question. We need to there and actually see if it's attached or if it's something that could be retached or detached. Currently, if you zoom in on the section of the roof in the lower left-hand corner, I've actually got zoom way in right up where the hood would be above the door. There you can sort of start to see it now. There's the profile of the hood there. Below what I'm showing as the horizontal beadboard roof that would be there. In this section, that ornament, the cap that's on top of the hood, we've removed that under the assumption that it is something that can be easily removed. If it's something that can't be easily removed, we would leave it in place and just kind of build around it and put it up in the roof. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, like, obviously a very fine, small detail. It's just, and I guess, Margaret, do you think that, I don't know what era that may have been added, if that was original, or was that Victorian?
And this property, as we know, has had so many changes. I don't know that I think it's appropriate to settle on a design that looks appropriate, functions, but it's not necessarily pinpointing one of these periods, because I think this has had too many changes.
Okay. The other question is, you guys, I see some notes on here. The exposed stone foundation to be patched, install new brick fascia. It looks like you have, like, kind of like a, I don't even know, Michigan ledge foundation situation up there. So is the stone going to come proud of that?
That again, I believe the answer is yes, and that we need to investigate really what the brick that's there. We need to figure out how it's built and how it's attached to the house. And because right now there's a very thin stone cap on top of it, and the stone is deteriorated. There's been some patching done to it. It's hard to tell whether it's original or not. The brick that's behind it looks like at one point there may have been a continuation of the stone belt course across the front. You know, so I think the intention would be to maintain the belt course, or to restore the belt course all the way across the front. If we needed to extend the belt course, it would become a stone shelf effectively on top of the brick that's there. So I don't know, I guess that's a circular way of answering your question, is to say we're not entirely sure yet because we haven't done the exploration.
I don't envy this situation. Trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I guess it's more just, Margaret, what do you think from the restoration side of it? Is that like kind of something that's going to have to be taken in the process, process, and that's okay?
Yeah, I think that, that's okay for this.
Reasonable. Okay. And to clarify, all this stuff is going to be wood element. I see that the handrail will be wood painted.
Yes.
And the metal, the note on metal, the little painted metal railing is just that interior handrail, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that is, the hand railing is meant to be just not to have as little effect and impact on the design as possible.
Okay.
Just so that it's there, but it will look appropriate, whatever style we end up choosing for that.
No gutter, no downspout.
No.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate Doug's comments pertaining to like shop drawings and stuff, but I think that I would feel comfortable approving with the recommendation to add a base.
Okay, that works for me.
Does that work for you, Doug?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think, Margaret?
Right, I think great.
Okay, motion to approve as presented with the recommendation to add a base to the columns.
And I will second.
Nate, please call the roll.
Doug Wall,
Aye. Yes.
Margaret Land,
Yes.
Antonia Marinucci.
Yes.
Okay.
Although I also just realized we did not look at talk about the fence.
Oh.
Sorry. Can we?
That could also be something you send to staff if you want, to landmark staff.
Yeah. Well, I can quickly talk about the fence. And I think there is one picture and a spec which is included for the fence. It's a decorative aluminum fence. It is the same fence that Dalit has installed on many of their properties. And it's very appropriate, very handsome looking. It's very well made.
Can you just tell us, refresh where that's going to go? Is that going to go on the?
It goes on the three public faces of the property. So along, the north, east, and west sides in various locations. And it would be 48 inches tall.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I would approve that.
I think it's fine.
Fine.
If it's consistent, if it's just the visual of what was shown in plan previously that we've approved.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I'll say too, just really quickly, it will be the same fence that's installed on the parking lot across the street, which I know isn't being considered as part of this, but it will all tie together.
At 4 feet at the parking lot too?
No, the parking lot will be higher. The parking lot is shown at 6 feet, but the style and appearance will be the same.
Okay, Donna, is there zoning code height or is that a variance for 6 foot?
I think it should be, yes.
That's a good question. I have to review that because I don't remember it being 6 feet tall.
And I guess we did just not approve a 5-foot fence at St. Herman's house. So I think unless that there was a zoning requirement for it to be that high or something like that, then that might be a variance request for you guys to do.
I'll talk to landmark staff about that.
Okay.
I'm sure it would have triggered something in the zoning if it were 6 feet.
We haven't got
Haven't
to
submitted yet.
review yet, so it's actually pending landmarks approval. So I think we would prefer to seek a variance for 6 feet just as a security measure. If there's pushback on it and we have to go with 48 feet, I guess.
So just a heads up, while we're on that topic, if you were to propose a 6-foot fence, you would be seeking a variance technically. So you would have to come back to this committee. And typically on Franklin Boulevard, it is not something that is approved, even though there has been tall fences in the past approved. Now they are not approving tall fences. So if you go with a 48-inch tall fence, that could be approved without any additional review. But if you were to seek the 6-foot fence, that would probably cause you more delays, which I know are frustrating. And sorry since we're just catching that now.
Okay.
Got it.
Sorry, guys.
So if the fence that's there currently is 6 feet tall, does that help us? If we're replacing what is there with something that is more handsome?
No, not really. We've recently had some other cases in Franklin Boulevard.
Yes.
Similar